Hey guys, LevelCap here, and pretty soon we're coming up on the 3-year anniversary of Battlefield 4's release, which is totally insane to think about. I haven't been playing it as much on my channel as of late because it's been out for so freaking long, and I've done literally everything there is to do in the game. Well, maybe not literally, there's a few things here and there that I missed out on, but that does kind of bring me to the subject that I want to talk about today, which is long-term progression in games like Battlefield. Now, without question, the fun factor takes precedence, and it's why people are still playing Battlefield 4 so regularly. It's been a huge success considering it's a 3-year-old game and the player base is very strong right now. That being said, progression systems heavily doused in cosmetic upgrades and cool things to show off your individuality or your individual progression have become really fun or addicting aspects to games that I'm enjoying nowadays, and I certainly think Battlefield could benefit from them. Now, this isn't to say that I'd like to see Team Fortress 2 hats or crazy pink camouflage that you might see in a Call of Duty title. I think the devs have done a really good job about keeping the soldier cosmetics true to form and just making armies look like they all belong together. There's unit cohesion there visually, which is nice. That being said, a player who's put 1,000 hours into Battlefield 4 doesn't really have a lot to make himself look different from a player who's put 1 hour into Battlefield 4. Now, way into Battlefield 4's launch, they actually did release one thing that seems to be a cool representation of extreme dedication and mastery of a specific playstyle, and that's for jet pilots. If you actually mastered all the jets in the game and you got those dog tags, you would then get, I think, an extra dog tag or something like that, and if you equipped it, you get multicolored vapor trails, which players in the game could see, and if you saw a jet with multicolored vapor trails flying through the air, you'd know that that person has a crap load of hours in a jet, which is very cool. And that was like one of the few things that I was like, oh wow, that's a really cool end game progression goal, but they didn't really add it to any other element of Battlefield. And I definitely feel like this is a game that has enough of a dedicated player base that a lot of people would be interested in these things, myself included. Now, of course, you do want to avoid the issue of adding in too much gaudy stuff to the game, like diamond weapon camos or gold weapon camos. Certainly you don't want to go the route of cartoony or just flamboyant, but there's definitely a lot of cosmetic changes and upgrades that could be made that would still look appropriate within the realm of Battlefield warfare. One aspect of cosmetic design that I feel like DICE has really been overlooking, especially when it comes to modern military gear, is just having a modular kit design for soldiers. Like, you could equip shmogs, you could put patches on your soldiers that would show up in game, different kinds of plate carriers and loadouts just to cosmetically change the look of your carrier, have helmet decor like stuff tied into your helmet or having netting on your helmet, different kinds of pistol holders, weapon slings, fast mag pouches on your plate carriers, different color goggles, even different kinds of gloves and stuff like that, as there's a huge amount of tactical gloves in the real world. The vast variety of soldier gear and kit could be really fun to use as an unlock system in a way to sort of distinguish yourself on the battlefield without breaking the Battlefield styling or the immersion factor. Rainbow Six has done an interesting job of customization, but I definitely think the sort of racing style weapon camos would be out of place in Battlefield, and also some of the headgear customization seems a little bit ridiculous for a Battlefield game, but they've sort of laid the groundwork, or maybe even the simplicity of how a system like this could do. Just swapping out your soldiers' headgear is enough to make them look unique or individual on the battlefield, and I think BF4 really could have benefited from a system like this, and I'd love to see it in future Battlefield games. One thing that I've always felt was a little bit lazy in the Battlefield progression system was the weapon camos in the game. There's a ton of weapon camos, but most of them are kind of crappy, or they all look the same in a way, and there was nothing specifically tied into an individual weapon platform. No cool ways of rendering weapons, no old school M16s with like burlap wrapped around the stock like in Battlefield 3. They all just kind of look standard, and then you could slap a standard like grass camo on it or whatever, or the crazy kind of black and reddish camos that you could get, they didn't look that unique or that individual. And I think it would be awesome to have those camos, rather than being universal unlocks, being tied into the weapon specifically. Breaking down specific accomplishments to benefit you for playing a very specific way in the game is a cool way to let somebody stand out visually. If somebody just snipes all the time, all day, every day, they're epic with headshots, maybe you make a camo that's tied into getting like 500 headshots or 1,000 headshots with one of your favorite sniper rifles. Then if somebody sees that camo, they know that you're pretty good with that sniper rifle, or you've really put in your time. Taking it a step further with Completionist Rewards, where if somebody masters all the weapons in a specific class, you could give them a really cool camo unlock for those guns or something like that. Just things to add many different layers of progression to the game. Yeah, 100 hours might give you some really cool camos, but 500 hours might give you some crazy epic camos that'll really turn heads on the battlefield. Something that gets a little bit more specific or meta with unlocks and customization is scope reticle customization. Now, Battlefield 4 has a different system than, say, Battlefield Hardline, where Battlefield 4 you can change the size of your scope reticle or your optic reticle and the color through the options menu. So you don't have to get any sort of unlocks or upgrades to change the reticle styling. In Battlefield Hardline, each optic comes with its own specific optical styling and color. So some optics might be green, some might be yellow, some might be red. And in fact, Hardline does the optic rendering a little bit more true to life than Battlefield 4 does. Rather than letting players change their optical style through the menu, I think it'd be cooler if Battlefield 4 had an unlock system for optics themselves. Optics in real life, as the red dots and holographic optics, come with a lot of different reticle styling when you purchase them, say off of an optics website or something. There's like 10 or 20 different styles to pick from based on what kind of shooting you're going to do or what distance you're actually going to be shooting at. And I think it would be awesome to have these as unlock options in a Battlefield game, and that way the more you played with a certain optic that you like, the more optical styles you would get for it. Now, based on what I've seen from Battlefield 1 stuff so far, it does appear that they're going to have some pretty cool and unique skins in the game. Especially the vehicle skins look cooler and more unique than the ones from Battlefield 4, which is exciting. I hope the same is applied to the weapons, although I don't know how much freedom they have with weapon styling from World War I, as I think for the most part they are all fairly military issue. Maybe there'll be a few logos or stenciling or engraving on the side of weapons, but I can't imagine what they're going to do far beyond that. Now, of course, having a complex, in-depth, and rigorous progression system is a slippery slope. I can see how some people might like the purity of Battlefield, where it doesn't really focus on cosmetic upgrades or unlocks quite as much as other games, but I really haven't seen a huge negative side to it for the most part. And when I see new games coming out with really in-depth progression systems or cool things that you can unlock, or the absolute mastery of certain playstyles, it always gets me excited. It makes me think about really dedicating myself to a certain craft in the game, or really becoming an expert of all things in a game for like a completionist reward. And I would just absolutely love to see that kind of thing in Battlefield, since at this point it's been a long time since I've actually unlocked anything unique in Battlefield 4. I mean, dog tags have never really excited me, as you don't display them on your soldier, and the only way somebody sees them is if you kill them, and even then it's not something that I'm ever looking for. When I get killed, I never look at somebody's dog tag and go, oh wow, that guy's amazing, you know, like they're all just kind of generic dog tag emblems. And I think camouflages, soldier customization, vehicle customization, and even beyond that would be a much cooler way to let your soldiers stand out from the others. Anyway, DICE has always done their own thing, and they seem to slowly be coming around to more and more progression systems in the Battlefield franchise, just not necessarily at the speed that I was hoping they would. Battlefront had a couple new soldier skins here and there, but not much in the way to really make your player stand out. Battlefield 1 looks like it's getting the custom vehicle camos, and there's also going to be some custom weapon camos that look like they're tied into DLC purchases, but how much more custom stuff are we going to get? I'm really excited to see. I have no idea whatsoever, and I hope it's a lot more than I think it's going to be. And considering that Battlefield 4 is going to be getting some retroactive upgrades from the new Battlefield 1 technology, like the squad joining system that we're getting from Battlefield 1 is going to be implemented in Battlefield 4. That's very cool. It'd be great to see some of the cosmetic stuff retroactively integrated to Battlefield 4 as well. Anyway, that wraps it up for this video. I'd love to hear what you guys think about a strong progression system in Battlefield games. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.